So Beyonce knows Carter will be performing at the NFL halftime show with the Ravens versus Texans on Christmas Day on Netflix. Very good idea. Usually I think Thanksgiving, they usually do something in Detroit and then you jump to the Super Bowl. I think sometimes they do stuff with Christmas games, but this is a big time thing. Now, there's some positives to this and some negatives to this. Let's get to the positives. From Netflix, it's a fantastic thing because you might have some NFL fans tuning in. They might subscribe. If they don't have Netflix, they might subscribe to the game because Ravens versus Texans is very good. It's actually you got CJ Stroud versus Lamar Jackson, so that's a big game. And records wise, it can dictate the playoffs in January, so that's a good game. And then for non-football fans, you got Beyonce in there, so it's a fantastic move by Netflix because this is their first NFL game, I believe. So I mean, it's kind of they'll base everything moving forward like, oh, if this game works, then maybe we can do other things with the NFL. So that's good for them, right? But Beyonce is a good move because she really didn't promote Cowboy Carter when it first came out. She kind of put the album out there. She did some stuff video wise, but she kind of put the album out there because like Destiny's Child's second album, The Writing on the Wall, is like 25 years old. And back in the day with Destiny's Child, they would go to radio stations and go on BET and MTV. You got TRL and 106 Park, and you just do all that press. And as the years since Lemonade, probably, Beyonce's really cut back on that type of stuff. She kind of, she might put out her own interviews, put out her own content, and doesn't do the whole radio thing anymore, or go on Fallon or Kimmel or Colbert or go on The View or The Talk to promote her albums. Even though I understand it, because at this point she doesn't really want to do that. She's a mom of three. She's Beyonce, right? She doesn't have to do it. But I think because this album was so different, because it was a country tinge album, she should have appeared on some like Good Morning America, Today Show, something like that to promote it, just for fans who are a little bit on the fence about liking the album or not. So I do wish she did a little bit of press, but I understand it, right? However, this is good for her because, it's the Grammys are coming up in February. So the album's up for Album of the Year. She's up for Record and Song of the Year for Texas Hold'em. So this is almost like, hey, okay, I wasn't out there in the spring, but I'm reintroducing this album to everyone who might have forgot about this album back in the springtime. Like, this is now award season, so we're gearing up for the Grammys. So this is my call to arms to promote Cowboy Carter. And if she plans to go on tour, which I don't know, in 2025, the Christmas Day performance can set the stage of, and Beyonce will be going on tour in the summer of 2025. Get your tickets now. So it might be a good precursor if she goes on tour, but I don't know. I'm sure BeyHive people know, but I do not know. Here's the negatives. It has nothing to do with Beyonce. It has all to do with Netflix. Netflix dropped the ball on the Tyson Jake Paul boxing match. People were complaining of buffering. The fight was start and stop. Only thing they saw was Mike Tyson half naked walking around. People were complaining on social media all night due to Netflix's servers, which is crazy because you would think something like Netflix, they would be really good with the servers, right? And again, it's Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Even though Mike Tyson is someone that still draws a lot of attention, which is amazing since, we're like, 30 years past his peak, but he still draws people's interest. And Jake Paul, everybody doesn't know Jake Paul. He has a big presence online. So you have a lot of fans who crushed the servers, but even I was kind of aghast with like, oh, the servers got crushed? How? I know these guys are popular, but it shouldn't have caused that much damage, which means that Netflix don't know, their servers aren't powerful enough to handle an event like that. If I'm Netflix, I'm talking to YouTube, because every year that Coachella's been on, it's been seamless. There's been no buffering. That thing, and they show like multiple stages throughout the weekend. And I never had a problem watching any of the coverage of Coachella on YouTube. If I'm Netflix, I'm talking to them. It's like, hey, how do you guys stream your events? Because for Coachella, you got multiple concerts, multiple stages, all day, all night, crush of people watching it. Absolutely fine. But if I'm YouTube, Do I want to give Netflix this edge? And then they will try to steal Coachella away from me? Nah, I might not. Or they might, because YouTube also has the NFL package. Yeah, I don't think, if I'm YouTube, I don't think I would be helping them out. I don't think I would give them my secrets. So I guess if Netflix calls and he said, who's on the phone? It's Netflix. They want to know about how we stream football games in Coachella. Tell them I'm not here. I don't think I would tell. But Netflix, from now until Christmas Day, are going to have to figure out how they stream effectively. Because if not, you're not only going to get NFL fans upset. You're going to get a whole bunch of Beyonce fans. Because here's the thing. Let's say the game goes on Christmas Day. There might be a little problem. But for the most part, the game is going fine. First quarter goes by fine. Most of the second quarter goes by fine. And then we hit the 2-minute mark. Then all of a sudden, all these different streamers come, all these different people come in who wasn't watching the football game before, are coming in, crushing the servers. Beyonce fans are all crushing this because they're not going to watch the game. If you ask the average Beyonce fan, tell me 3 things about the Ravens and the Texans. Most of them probably can tell you maybe 1 or 2 things, if any. But they can tell you everything about Beyonce. So they're skipping everything until they look at the clock. It's like, oh, it's time to see Bey. And all these people around the world, because, yeah, football, NFL football is global, but Beyonce is super global. So all these people around the world are crushing to see Beyonce perform just because she hasn't toured this year. She's done very little this year. So they haven't seen her like it probably was since like 2023 for some people as far as performing goes. So they're crushing the servers. If Netflix had problems with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, what do you think they're going to do? 2 minutes left in the quarter going into the halftime. And all these people are coming in to see Beyonce. Even though Netflix can gain a lot of subscribers and a lot of good buzz about this Beyonce performance, if her fans are buffering, if her fans are getting strange messages saying, check your internet connection like it did during the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight, people will be irate. And the last thing they don't want is people start unsubscribing from Netflix, or just doing a lot of bad press and bad tweets and bad posts and bad TikToks and bad YouTube videos about Netflix, about how they screwed up Beyonce's performance. So Netflix, smart move by bringing in Beyonce. But you can't screw it up. You can't screw it up, because I'm telling you, if folks can't see her perform, see, people always talk about the Swifties, right? Yeah, the Swifties, I mean, they're big right now. That BeyHive is just as big and even more ferocious than the Swifties at times. So Netflix, if you don't want the BeyHive all over your back, you better figure out how to stream that NFL game. And even from the NFL fans, like if the game is buffering and they're trying to watch, listen, man, there's dudes who's planning to watch this game because they don't want to talk to Aunt Gladys with her bad dip. So for the NFL fans and the Beyonce fans, Netflix, you got to get it together. I'm saying this with peace and love, like the great Ringo Starr, because you don't want the aftermath on December 26th.